Hi there, welcome back to the Lighthouse Sessions. In this episode, we are going to talk about a concept I call the focused workday. Now, earlier you saw an episode last season, it was the episode 200, where I talked about the heaven or hell exercise. And the whole point of the heaven or hell exercise was that we eliminate 10 hours of hell, the things that are low value and that drag us down, the tactical stuff that probably doesn't move the needle or make the business leap forward. We eliminate 10 hours. And my ask of you was to replace that. So 10 hours of low value, and by low value, I mean relatively $10 an hour to $100 an hour. We want to eliminate, automate, or delegate those things. The goal was we eliminate 10 hours so that we can add a minimum of 6 hours of high value, highly strategic heaven work. Now, when I say high value, the tactical, strategic tactical activities are probably worth about $1,000 an hour relatively in your business. The high-end strategic should at least be worth 10,000 and up. So I just put 10,000 on because it signifies, obviously, it's 10 times more valuable than the strategic tactical. It's pure strategic. So what we do is we create something I call the focused workday. And basically, if we look at it, we want to eliminate at least 10 hours, and we want to find ways to add at least 10 hours of strategic. So one thing I will tell you is the more strategic activities you do, the fewer tactical activities you have time for. So it's a trade-off. So in this, the first page of this exercise, it's a multi-page. This is just a sheet for you if you want to take notes. So what are some of your takeaways? What are some actions you will take as a result? Who do you need to communicate with to make this happen? So the whole point of this is we're going to brainstorm both opportunities and challenges so that we're ready for it. Because one of the things I found over and over and over with founders, especially visionary ones, we take away something, they immediately find something to fill their day with that may or may not be valuable. So we want to focus on taking away low value activities and bringing in intentionally high value activities. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to find why we care about this. So again, if we don't do this, when we have 10 hours a week where we're focusing on highly productive time, if we don't have a big picture view of it, it won't happen. The problem with strategic time is it is very, very important, but it's not urgent. It's easy to get derailed by phone calls, other things. So what we want to do here is we want to brainstorm at least 10 opportunities. What are 10 highly strategic things that we could do with our time if we did it? Now, this is a quick exercise. You want to brainstorm what high value strategic activities look like for you. For me personally, a high value strategic activity is to identify strategic partners who can help me double, triple, 10x my business. That's exciting. Maybe it's identifying new products. Maybe it's identifying, we've talked about a few things like the money blueprint, where you can use this time to identify the channels you want to serve, maybe the lead magnets you want to offer, the conversion tools, the follow-up sequences. So brainstorm the big ideas. These are the things that if you had time, one day I would like to do these. That's your very first little exercise. And this is just warming you up, getting you used to it. Now, I promise you, once you start tackling these things, you will cross them off quickly. So you're going to keep coming back, keep adding to this list. The next step is we want to take that list of 10 and we want to look at the top 5. Now, with generative AI, we can analyze things quickly. We can come up with pros and cons, identify the top 5 that feel right to you, the ones that you get excited when you think about it. That's where we want to start. This builds momentum. And with each of the top 5, on the far right here, we're going to list the benefits. Why do we care? Why is this important? How do we know this is something we need to do? So list the benefits. These things will keep us going and give us energy when we are time strapped or when we're distracted. But this is really the why we give up what we give up. We get rid of the low value activities so that we can do these things. Now, it's entirely up to you. I am all about life balance. A lot of people, they like to just do one 10-hour day. My brain doesn't work that way. So for me, I say you can do this any way really that works, but basically you want to add over the course of a week 10 hours that are sacred and blocked. If you're an early riser and your energy's high in the morning, do it in the morning. If you're a night owl, do it in the night. But really, to keep it simple, I have 3 options. You figure out what works for you. You can do one block of 10. So when I first start out, if you're looking at it, your calendar is probably tight over the next couple of weeks. But 3-4 weeks out, you should be able to schedule. Until then, maybe you block a Saturday off and you do 10 hours. Or you can do two slots of 5 hours, or you can do 5 slots of 2. Some people do 10 slots of 1. For me, it takes me a couple hours to get in the zone. So I like to do 5 slots of 2. And these need to be sacred times in your calendar. So block them out, and they are your most sacred appointment. Don't skip them for anything. Think of this as the high value maintenance on your business. You don't want to miss it. Now, the next piece, and this is probably the critical piece a lot of people miss, is obstacles are going to come up. Things are going to get in the way that are going to prevent us from doing our focused workday activities. So here we want to brainstorm, what are the common obstacles, the things that will derail us? Now, the reason we do this up front is if we understand what our common obstacles might be, we can plan for them and we can mitigate them. So here, brainstorm all the obstacles. You know, it might be a meteor falling out of the sky, it might be a tsunami, it might be earthquakes, tornadoes, whatever it is, crazy family visiting. Think of all the things that derail you, and then be honest. What are your top 5 obstacles? With most founders, the number one obstacle is the gotta minute meetings. So think about what gets in the way, what derails your day. You know, you show up on a Monday ready to do something, and next thing you know, it's Friday and the week's gotten away. What were the things that got in the way? And then for each of your top 5 obstacles, come up with at least 3 strategies to combat or mitigate or recover from. So how can you avoid it? How can you recover from it? How can you prevent it? And then finally, on the far right, list your next actions. What are things you can put in place today? And by the way, I love the E-Myth key frustration process. If we identify the things that frustrate us, we can build systems to prevent them from derailing us. So think about what's one thing you can do in each of those areas that you can implement today so that these obstacles become less prevalent. And really, that's the end of the focused workday. So again, in the heaven or hell, we eliminate, automate, or delegate low-level tasks so that we have time for the strategic tasks. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Promise you, try this for a month or two, see how it fits. But the reality is we can either react to everything or we can plan and we can be proactive. Personally, I'd rather be proactive. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.